Just one game away. So close. The finals, Jeddah 2026, the AFC Champions League Elite, the semi-final, as Vissel Kobe of Japan meet Ahli Saudi in Jeddah, in their city. And their stories are fascinating. Perfectly routine, calm passages through the quarter-final stage. No, only joking. Drama, drama, drama for both of these teams. They crept through, but there's no creeping, no hiding now in this huge stadium with huge expectations and a huge prize, a place in the final. Jeddah, a city of history, a chance to make history now for these teams. Ollie Hogben here, and I am thrilled to be alongside Andy West for all of the action in the semi-final of the AFC Champions League Elite. What an occasion.
What an occasion. Good evening, Ollie. Thoroughly looking forward to this semi-final, and who knows what to expect. You look at it on paper, Al Ahli have the superstars, they have home field advantage, but Vissel Kobe, they showed in the last game that they are never down and out. Got an equaliser 20 seconds from the end of the game in the 3rd minute of added time, and then won on penalties. The goalkeeper making several heroic saves during extra time. So who knows? And that was by far from the only dramatic game we've seen in these knockout stages. Really have been some spectacular results and a great evening ahead of us.
And look at the setting. The AFC Champions League Elite, the finals, Jeddah 2026. A city of nearly 4 million people in Mecca province on the west coast, the 2nd largest city in Saudi Arabia, one of the largest seaports in the world. Well, what is the destination for these teams? Who sails onwards? Who goes into the final? Vissel Kobe from a great port city, one of the greatest port cities in the world themselves. But will their journey end today?
And of course, different regions from the AFC represented, with the West and the East meeting here. And Jeddah, you saying the history of the city, is also adding to the history now. It's becoming one of the sporting capitals of the world. And we're seeing, of course, the quality of the players, not just Al Ahli, but throughout the Saudi League. And that is helping to bring up the quality throughout this competition in the AFC Champions League Elite.
Two such different teams. They play so differently. One team full of stars. One team full of discipline, full of organisation, and they will need to be stronger defensively than they were, Vissel Kobe, in their quarter-final.
Yeah, if we're honest about it, they got away with it, didn't they, in the quarter-finals? They were 3-1 down in the last 20 minutes, 3-2 down in the last 20 seconds, and somehow came away with it. Needed some great saves from the goalkeeper, as I said, Maikawa, in extra time. If they play in a similar way today, I don't see them winning. They have to be tighter, as you say, defensive discipline. They need to show that. They need to be, because if this game comes down to individual quality, there's no doubt that Al Ahli have more of that. And that's what they'll be relying on. Give it to the stars, Mahrez, Galeno in particular, that sensational winning goal from Galeno in the quarterfinals, showing just what he's capable of. Even Tony as well. So there's so much quality in this Al Ahli team. The task for Vissel Kobe is to neutralise that by being collectively well organised and all on the same page. And they've also, I'm going to be fascinated when the game starts, fascinated to see their approach. Are they just going to sit back and try to defend their penalty area? That would be maybe the natural inclination, but that's risky because you get stuck into that defensive rut. It's only a matter of time normally until the opposition score. So there has also to be some kind of attacking purpose for Vissel Kobe, even if it's just on the break, making the use of their opportunities to counter-attack. Or maybe they will try to impose themselves more, establish more possession and take the game to Al Ahli. So going to be a fascinating tactical battle between two German coaches.
The AFC Champions League Elite, the finals, Jeddah 2026. This is the flagship club competition in the great diverse continent of Asia, and the West and the East meet now. One departs Who goes through to the final? Who can make history in a city of history? Who can make Jeddah their home? For Al Ahli Saudi, it's already home, and that carries with it advantage, but it also brings pressure. For Vissel Kobe, this is the one they want to win. They finally become a strong team domestically. Can they be the greatest team in Asia?
And it was fascinating seeing in the tunnel there as players came out, a kind of microcosm of the different approaches, with the Vissel Kobe players roaring in anticipation as they walked out, the Al Ahli players chatting quite happily, very relaxed.
Let us see how long that atmosphere of relaxation lasts, because if Vissel Kobe can pressurise this team of stars early on, then they might agitate the crowd, and the crowd might find that their tension transfers onto the players.
Yeah, when you've got 50,000 people cheering you on, that does come obviously with a sense of pressure, a sense of expectation. These Al Ahli fans inside the arena today, they'll be fully expecting to win. They're not expecting a close contest. Their team's the reigning champions, they've got the superstars, they will be expecting to win this. So if they get frustrated by Vissel Kobe for long periods early on, it'll be interesting to see if that positive atmosphere that we clearly have got now stays with the home team.
There's only one way to find out. The game will begin soon. Captains Edouard Mendy and Tetsushi Yamakawa lead their teammates down the line, and we see who leads their team into the final of this great competition.
Another contrast is the spread of nationalities among the two teams. Saudi football, of course, very much embracing the modern world of players from all over the world, whereas Vissel Kobe have 10 Japanese players in their starting lineup.
Well, after Shuichi Gonda played a lot during the league stage, Daiya Maekawa seems to be the chosen man in goal for Vissel Kobe from now on. Number 7, Yosuke Iriguchi, has been brilliant in midfield over the last 2 rounds, scoring huge goals. They'll be busy dealing with Al Ahli Saudi's creative threats today. In attack, veteran Yuya Osako, number 10, has found form at just the right time. And in this great diverse continent of Asia, it's 2 German gentlemen who lead the teams. Very experienced, and a very nice sporting atmosphere between them at the start. They've talked about the need for bravery, to embrace this occasion, to enjoy facing some of the greatest players in the world in one of the greatest stadiums in the world. Good luck to Tantashev Ilguz of Uzbekistan, who looks after this match from the Silk Road city of Bukhara. Now, is it a road paved with gold for one of these 2 teams? Superintending the video review process is Mohammed Taki of Singapore. Stars galore, but not necessarily goals galore for Al Ahli Saudi, the reigning champions. They have an eye-watering lineup, but they've had to work hard to sneak through the knockout stage matches. Captain is goalkeeper Edouard Mendy, and into his defence comes number 28, Meri Demiral, with Ali Majrashi suspended. And what of the attack? Well, there's number 7, Riyad Mahrez, who scored the only goal in the round of 16, and number 13, Galeno, the Brazilian who scored and assisted in the quarter-final. They've not got a bad group of players, have they?
They haven't at all, but it's been anything but easy for them. They should come into this game knowing not to take anything for granted. They really had to work hard in the round of 16, a late extra time winner. And then last round, of course, they had to, in the quarterfinals, come from behind with 10 men. They had to work very hard. So they've not had it easy yet, and that should get their competitive juices flowing for this game as they prepare for it. Look at these fantastic scenes.
Well, I hope you are looking forward to this wherever you are watching from. Kickoff is upon us. And look at the stands, it's full.
It really is a super atmosphere today, as you would expect.
The very warmest of welcomes to you indeed, wherever you are watching from and whoever you're supporting in this meeting between Vissel Kobe in the darker kit and Ahli Saudi in the AFC Champions League Elite. This is the semi-final stage of this great competition, and we are anticipating a great match. My name's Ollie Hogben, and I'm delighted to be joined by Andy West, who's going to talk through the different approaches that these two gentlemen, the head coaches, both from Germany, might be taking.
Yeah, Mikhail Skibber, the Vissel Kobe coach. I was going to say the visiting coach, which they're not, of course, because normally this is a neutral venue, but it's anything but neutral, as we can see. It just happens to be Al Ahli's home arena as well. Yeah, Michael Skibber is very experienced, 60 years age. He's been coaching for about 30 years, so he has seen and done it all, and you could just see how calm he was, very focused.
Here is Galeno, the exciting Brazilian who was so important in the quarter-final stage. They've got to keep an eye on him.
Yeah, sometimes, though, you've just got too much quality for defenders to deal with, as was the case with his superb winner in the quarter-finals. He down the left wing, and Mahrez there, who handled the ball here down the right, are the two creative forces. Interesting that today Mateus Gonçalves has been left on the bench, so you'd expect the main job of linking midfield with attack to go to the young Frenchman, Enzo Milot, the number 10. And then Ivan Toney up front, not had a great campaign. We've only seen him score one goal. There's a bit of a stoppage. The referee wasn't ready, was he? But Ivan Toney, only one goal so far in 8 appearances. And although when he talked to the media yesterday, he was saying all the right things about doing his job for the team and being ready. Strikers like scoring, and so when he's had a run of not scoring, it's bound to affect him. So we'll have to see the confidence that he takes chances with if they come his way.
In goal for Vissel Kobe is Daya Maikawa. He spent his whole career at the club, a much respected goalkeeper who's been very important as the chosen goalkeeper as the competition has gone on. Matthias Jeisler, the head coach of Al Ahli Saudi, he has said he wants the players to enjoy the crowd, to celebrate being here.
Absolutely, they're all there for this Al Ahli team. They're all there to be on their side, and we can hear now the whistles as Vissel Kobe look to mount their first attack, but it has been a positive start actually from Vissel Kobe. And they're not shy in getting players forward. As we look there, we can see 6 players looking to attack in the final third. So they're not just coming out to park the bus, as we say, and sit back and try and hold on to a 0-0 for as long as they can. And again, there's pressure high up the field here from Vissel Kobe, not trying to prevent Al Ahli from having easy possession to build out from the back. It's a very positive and progressive start, and forcing some errors already.
Now the ball with Zakaria Al-Hossawi, who's on loan from Al Rayed. He's been a very important acquisition for Al Ahli Saudi this season. Out to another on loan player. This is Makoto Mitsuta, who's on loan from Gamba Osaka, a city very close to Kobe.
He's the only change to the starting 11, coming in for the injured Ogehara. So big chance for him, only his first start this season in the AFC Champions League Elite.
Important touch from number 24, Gontoku Sakai, who is tasked at fullback with dealing with Galeno. There are easier jobs in the world than that. Yeah,
and he'll need help. He'll need help from, I would assume, Muto down the right wing, tracking back to double up on Galeno, and the same on the other side. You don't want to leave Mahrez or Galeno one-on-one with their fullbacks. But this is a very positive start. It's Vissel Kobe who are looking the more composed team at the moment. Great progression down the left wing here, and possibly a chance.
There's an opportunity here for Yoshinori Muto from the edge of the area, and blocked by Al-Hossawi. But a lively beginning from the Japanese team.
Absolutely, they've been the ones taking the game forward, and only 5 minutes on the clock. If anyone in Al Ahli colours thought, OK, we're going to stroll out here and beat this team to that, I'm sure no one did think that. But they've already been given a very clear statement of intent from Vissel Kobe. They're here to play. They're not here just to try and hang in the game. They want to be the protagonists, and that it's been a very encouraging start for them. Now they need to maintain it and keep making it difficult for Al Ahli to settle into the game, which they really haven't at the moment. They've not had any kind of sustained possession yet. And there's a good example. They wanted to play out from the back, but the press was high from Vissel Kobe. So in the end, it was just a rather hopeless ball forward from Ibanez. Hopeful, but also hopeless. Hoping that he'd find a teammate, but there was nobody there, and a waste of possession. They just can't find any rhythm at the moment, and credit to Vissel Kobe for that.
And there is Roger Ibanez, born in the Rio Grande do Sul, the far south of Brazil. Joined the club a few years ago from Roma. Both of these head coaches have won 63% of their matches in charge of their respective teams, albeit with Mr. Jeddah having had many more matches. He's transformed Al Ahli Saudi.
Absolutely, what a rising star of the coaching world he is. Only 38, having started out early with Red Bull Salzburg, moving to Saudi Arabia 3 years ago now, coming up to, and what a job he's done. Good finishes in the league. They'll look to take the next step and win the league, but winning the AFC Champions League elite last season, semi-finals this season, phenomenal job that he's done. But this is a really challenging start. Again, as we were talking there, another rather aimless ball forward without precision. A few seconds earlier we saw a needlessly misplaced pass from Galeno. They just don't look at ease at all at the moment, Al Ahli.
Is it therefore the case that much of this match comes down to the team cohesion that Vissel Kobe are known for against the individual brilliance, the mercurial match winners that Al Ahli Saudi possess?
That in a microcosm is what you would expect. Yes, obviously games have different shades and textures, but if you want to contrast the two teams, it's a collective hard-working unit who will run for each other and try to stay compact against a team of individual brilliance. That's not to be unkind to Al Ahli. Of course they have teamwork as well, but they want to build a structure that allows their individuals to shine. Whereas Vissel Kobe, they know what they are. They know that they don't have the individual talent to match, but they've worked so hard in these first few minutes. They've really unsettled Al Ahli, and this kind of opportunity is something they could exploit. A long throw like a set piece. And look at the intent. There are 6 players in the area, 3 more on the edge.
Touch was from Tony, and then away from Rayyan Hamed, who was actually born in this city, Jeddah. Imagine the emotions that the young centre-back is feeling today.
Yeah, and seeing the transformation in Saudi football since he was a youngster growing up in this city, watching the sport, playing the sport, thinking that one day maybe I can make a career in this, and now look at him playing alongside people like Riyad Mahrez.
Again, delivered with purpose and thumped away with purpose by Roger Ibanez. This is Idiguchi, who's been really impressive in the knockout stage, as have those two, Muto and Osako. Osako, who is really in form at the moment, such a clever player, produced a beautiful headed goal in that comeback against Al Sadd.
This is what they've got to avoid, though. That was potentially a costly error, needlessly giving the ball away in midfield, and you cannot leave your defence exposed against the quality of this Al Ahli attack, which hasn't threatened at all yet. We had one brief burst from the left-hand side in towards the penalty area from Galeno that was blocked away, but otherwise it's been, we're looking left to right. That's the way all the traffic is going at the moment.
A little too physical from Makoto Mitsuta, who thought he had plenty of space, and Roger Ibanez disagreed. There is that danger again, exactly what you were referencing a moment ago.
Yeah, he can't afford to switch off, and great credit to the goalkeeper. Maikawa came out quickly, recognised he had to, otherwise Galeno would have been in one-on-one. He is very quick down the left-hand side. So that's a balance for Vissel Kobe. We see them pushing high up the field. We see them pressing. We see them refusing to allow Al Ahly easy link-up play from their goalkeeper. But they don't want to push too high up the field and leave space in behind. But again, they've done it brilliantly here.
Ideguchi. And he's done well. And he's going to need to do well throughout this match in the centre of midfield.
Now that tackle by Mahrez there to concede the throw, and I think that's only the second time he's touched it. The first time was when he handled the ball. But that just shows you how this game has gone in the opening 10 minutes. Vissel Kobe will be very happy. And
a lot of the Al Duhail fans were thinking, well, Mahrez hasn't done a huge amount in the round of 16, and then he scored a fantastic free kick right before the end of the match. Now here's Galeno, potentially tricky. He'll stay in with Tony. And now they are attacking. Mayo wanted it. Mio wanted it even.
And look at the purpose on the break again. They win it. They're not just content to clear their lines. They want to be constructive coming forward, and they've got 5-6 players in the attack.
Has that just about stayed on? It's going to be, it was going to be hit by Ideguchi, but not quite.
Yeah, it was a shame because he had time actually to control it and then assess his options. He had support, could have maybe taken a touch to give himself a better shooting opportunity, but just a bit of a rush of blood to the head there, thinking, oh, I can fire one in from 30 yards here. And this is a concern for Al Ahly, their very influential Brazilian defender, Roger Ibanez, down, needing treatment.
They have already had to make adjustments to the nature of their defence due to Ali Majrashi not being available.
Yeah, so they have to bring in, well, they brought in 2 players actually to cover for that, with Valentin Atangana, the French defensive midfielder, to add a bit more presence there, and the Turkish international Merih Demiral. So they don't want another change. It doesn't look too bad though, but you can see all these conversations going on between Matthias Jaisler and his players. They're a bit perturbed by the way this game has started so far. That was perhaps how he hurt himself, in trying to dispossess Ideguchi, who really, he typified the spirit that Vissel Kobe have shown so far, because it was he who made the tackle on Mahrez on the edge of the box, then sprinted 80 yards to have that shot. He didn't take very well, but still shows the intent that his team are playing with. I think Ibanez is going to be okay.
During this brief moment of pause in the contest, worth reminding you that for Vissel Kobe, it was a win over Al Sadd of Qatar on penalties after a 3-3 draw that got them to this stage, and they barely made it. An equalising goal from Yoshinori Muto in the 93rd minute, with literally about 20 seconds or so left in the contest. They scored all 5 penalties, with Jean-Patrick producing the decisive one. And their opponents, Al Ahli Saudi, beat Johor Darul Tazim 2-1 after being 1-0 down to an Ali Majrashi own goal. So they both had a difficult path to get to the semi-final stage.
Absolutely, and the physical element could be very important later on, because those games were only played a few days ago. Vissel Kobe obviously had extra time, so they've played 30 minutes more. However, they had an extra day's rest. Their game was on Thursday, whereas Al Ahly played on Friday. Al Ahly also had to play with 10 men for the majority of the game, so you could argue it both ways, which team is going to suffer most physically as the game goes on.
Number 41 is Katsuya Nagato, trying to make life difficult for Mahrez. That's going to be a foul.
Yeah, that's Mahrez's biggest contribution so far, though, making a tackle and clearing from inside his own penalty area. And there's Matheus Tuller, the only non-Japanese starter in this Vissel Kobe team, the Brazilian. I think he was letting Ivan Toney know he's there, wasn't he? Rugged challenge, you could call that.
He'd use a different word.
Yeah, I think he wanted a card for it, or at least a warning.
Really authoritative player, Matheus Tuller. There's such a great cultural connection between Japanese and Brazilian football. It goes back many, many decades. You think about players like Kazuyoshi Miura, who went to Brazil, worked his way from the ground up, travelling on 15-hour bus journeys to get to matches and sleeping on the bus with his teammates to try to make it in Japan. And the great Zico came up to him at the end of one match and said, "You've made it." Zico came over to Japan, was part of that first wave of great Brazilian footballers to make a name for themselves before the J-League. So there's always been this wonderful link between the two nations.
Yeah, and Zico, one of the great Brazilian players of all time, and so when his compatriots see him going to play in Japan, it presents it as a viable option. Well, if Zico's doing it, I could go there. Here they come again.
It's going to be tricky, but he's done well, the Brazilian Jorge Ibanez.
Yeah, back on his feet on the field and looking 100%, as he needed to be there because he was under pressure from Osako, but a poor pass.
Here is Osako, and he's really closed down quickly. Kessié coming back and celebrating hugely, but they are finding it tricky.
They're rattled, no doubt about it. They can't keep the ball at all. They've had one attack where it really came from a long ball over the top. Other than that, they have been forced on the back foot. They cannot sustain possession. It's not the kind of game that Al Ahli want to play at the moment. The pattern of the game is Vissel Kobe's. But having said all that, when they're on top, got to make the most of it. Got to take the lead against a team of this quality.
It will be Makoto Mitsuta who will produce this outswinging corner kick. It's quite easily cleared.
That's a shame. That's two set pieces from him now, and they've both been poor deliveries. They need better than that. They need to make more of those set-piece deliveries.
Nagato, picked up by Yuta Gorke, who recently returned to Vissel Kobe. Said he's delighted to wear the club's colours again. They're delighted to have him back. Here is one of the replacement players, Atangana, who's the second of the two changes made by Mr. Eisler. Nodded away by the experienced Gotoku Sakai, who's going to need to absolutely have his wits about him to cope with Galeno.
As he has done so far, but to be fair for Galeno, he hasn't had service. He's been isolated over on the left wing, as has Mahrez on the other side. And just look here how difficult it is for Ibanez to play out, and in the end he just resorts to again a hopeful lump forward, which is easily won back by Vissel Kobe. There's no constructive building of play through midfield at the moment, which is a big surprise. And on cue, there comes the possession stats on the screen. Vissel Kobe with more possession. I don't think we would have expected that.
There is the possibility of an all-Japanese AFC Champions League Elite final. More on that later. The next 24 hours. Here comes this ball from Hamed.
Yeah, that was a sore one. Was that Itaguchi who's down? Caught him full in the face, so the referee's done well there to immediately stop the play. Head injuries is something that referees are rightly giving a lot more attention to throughout football in the last few years, so hopefully he'll be okay.
Yuta Gorke had no time at all to react, did he?
No, it was hit with power by Ryan, who is moved position today. He was the central defensive partner of Ibanez in the quarter-final, but with Majarashi being suspended, the right back having been sent off in that game, he's the one who's moved over to the right, with Demiral taking his place in the middle. And he's certainly not had any opportunity to get forward yet. We see these little clips, they're all really highlighting Vissel Kobe play.
Well, the gentleman who's got back to his feet Utagorke came through the national championship winning Aomori Yamada High School to begin his professional career. Why is that worth mentioning? Well, Go Kuroda, the head coach of Majda Zelvia, was the head coach of that team for about 25 years and has created a professional coaching career out of that, and he will take charge of Majda Zelvia in the second semi-final that takes place at the same time tomorrow. So this is the biggest moment in Aomori Yamada High School's life on the global football stage.
Two semi-finalists, it's insane, isn't it? A player and a former coach, that's a story in itself that we'll get into more tomorrow for the second semi-final. Majda Zelvia, a very unexpected semi-finalists, but it's been the unexpected in these knockout stages. Who would have thought they would beat the stars of Al Ittihad? Who would have thought Al Hilal would lose to Al Sadd, considering how the teams had both played during the league phase earlier on? Who would have thought that Al Ahli would struggle so much to get past Al Duhail and JDT? And that's football, that's why we watch, because you think you might know what's going to happen, but it rarely does work out that way.
That moment very representative of Galeno's match so far, trying hopefully to chase something down and not having any success.
Well, we've seen next to nothing of the midfield trio for Al Ahli, and for me that is where Yaisla will be wanting to get a hold of the game. Those three, Atangana, Kessié and Milo, they just haven't been able to establish any possession, and that's poor from Kessié. That pass there, really poor when you're trying to get a foothold in the game, trying a very optimistic through ball, immediately giving the ball away. Those three in the middle for Al Ahli, for me, should be making sure they get their foot on the ball, find each other, establish a bit of possession, force Vissel Kobe back and make them uncomfortable.
This contest taking place in the King Abdullah Sports City Stadium, known as the Jewel, or the Shining Jewel, capacity of around 63,000. And is this going to be a first meaningful opportunity? No, and he was offside anyway. Ivan Tonia's Yamakawa got back to deal with it regardless.
Yes, it's the stadium that the quarter-final was played in for Al Ahli. It's the venue for the final on Saturday. There we see the confirmation of the offside against Tony. And of course it is the familiar home ground of Al Ahli. So neutral venue, neutral schmootral. They're very at home here, but they haven't been allowed to feel it so far in this game. No clear chances though. If there's one thing that Vissel Kobe will be a little disappointed with, is that they haven't turned their control of the game into, never mind a lead, but chances. Edouard Mendy hasn't had to make a save yet.
Well, you have experienced, Andy, in the course of your career covering football in so many countries, that actually home advantage can be turned into a profound disadvantage if the opposition approach the game in the right way.
Because it can spread a sense of unease when the fans expect so much. If it's not happening, then that tension spreads around the ground. And to be fair, it's not happened here yet today. The Al Ahli fans, they're not as noisy as they were at the beginning of the game, but we haven't had groans or whistles or anything like that, as you wouldn't expect it in a semi-final. But certainly they're becoming quietened.
Around about the halfway stage of the first half, you're watching the AFC Champions League Elite. It's the semi-final as part of the Jeddah 2026 overall finals. Centralised hub system in operation. Galeno just has to take a safe option. All a little on the ragged side.
Yeah, safe option as well from Demiral. Under pressure, just play it long, get it away from goal. Again, there's a lack of constructiveness for Al Ahli, and that has to come from the midfield trio. And Willow is not going to be allowed to take it from 15 yards from where the free kick took place. But now, can they build through midfield, get some touches, string a few passes together. It doesn't necessarily matter if they don't make progress towards goal and create a chance. Well, going long again, and okay, if it's an accurate long ball, good.
Has worked that time. It might really work. Brilliant play from Ideguchi. Just shut that attack down.
Not for the first time. It was his challenge on Mahrez, the only time he threatened the penalty area.
Fiercely hard-working player, number 7, Yosuke Ideguchi. Joined the club from Celtic in the great sporting city of Glasgow.
Well, he knows about passionate occasions then, doesn't he, and playing with emotion.
He's not going to fear a vibrant crowd.
No.
Al-Hossawi has a little space. That space is ended by Yamakawa. No, it hasn't. Al-Hossawi with the overlap coming from number 10, Mio. Instead, from the edge of the area, save is forced. Maikawa, and it's still alive. Maikawa gets hands on it that time. It was Riyad Mahrez. The most damaging period of play from the Saudi team.
First shots on target, yeah, and it was the first time we've seen either of the fullbacks get forward for Al Ahli. It was Housawi, the left-sided player, who did really well. Great persistence, because it looked like he'd lost it, but then he refused to be denied, got it back, and the shot from Kessie might have taken a deflection on the way through, which made it harder for the goalkeeper, who did well, and then good follow-up save as well. But maybe that'll give a bit of confidence to Al Ahli, who just look like they're starting to get on their game now, playing at a bit more of a tempo. Yeah, I wonder if there was a deflection here from Kessie. Yeah, it came off the left leg of the defender. That could have made it very difficult for the goalkeeper. Reacted well to the adjusted trajectory, and might have been a little deflection there as well off Katsuya. So a couple of good stops from Maikawa, who was a real hero during the quarter-final win. A couple of spectacular saves in extra time, keep his team in it.
He loves the club. He said when his third child was born last year, he'd dedicate himself with all his body and soul to protect his family and the club. Can he protect the goal here? Doesn't need to.
Yeah, it was a difficult position for a free kick because it was so central. You don't have any angle to work with, and often teams in that position, rather than a direct ball in, will shift it wide to have more of an angle, and difficult for Mahrez to try and conjure something there. This is the first time, though, last 3 or 4 minutes, that the game is being played inside the Vissel Kobe half, and they're anxious to change that. We're seeing, whereas Al Ahli at times want to play out through the back, no question of that here. Wave the defenders up, go away, this is going long.
The man whose father won the Asian Cup in 1992 was the goalkeeper for Japan, Daya Maikawa, now keeping goal and dreaming of a Champions League elite final. Ideguchi, he'll offer some support. Instead it's going to go in, and it just went over the top of Midsta. Here is Tetsushi Yamakawa. 25th appearance today for him in AFC continental competition, as that's loose, and here's a chance for, of all people, Sakai, and he opted to play that laterally.
Yeah, I could understand why he did, rather than going for goal, because the angle was going against him as he was running away from goal. He's right-footed, he didn't want to shift it onto his left foot to improve the angle, and there were players in the middle, so it was yeah, very valid to try this cutback. But again, that came from an Al Ahli error. I think it was Kessie who gave the ball away in the final third. They're looking a bit unhappy with life, aren't they? Some of the body language from the Al Ahli players. And Vissel Kobe will be happy that they weathered that brief, I'm not sure it was a storm. It was a few rain clouds appearing they had to weather, and now they've taken the game back forward.
Katsuya Nagato. Will restart the game for the J-League team. Tricky ball, nicely worked. Muto, a chance, a goal. Yoshinori Muto, who kept them in the competition, scoring with seconds left in the quarter-final, has made it Vissel Kobe 1, Ahli Saudi 0.
And they deserve it if it stands. We'll have to see the video review because it was very close to being offside. The initial run into the box behind the defenders, did he time it? Did he stay onside? If so, time to perfection because he was totally free. And a good finish from Muto. What a story. Equalised with 20 seconds left in the quarter-final, and he scored the opener now. But yeah, they're checking, and I think the Vissel Kobe players are a bit concerned. We'll see here. I think he's okay.
If they've got that right, this is to perfection.
And a really good header down by Osako to have the presence of mind not to go for goal, because he was unmarked, 10, 12 yards out. He could have thought, I'm going to be the hero and head this home, but he saw that he had his teammate running in beside him. That was obviously something they practiced on the training ground. And yeah, on the first replay we saw, it looked good. It looked like he was level and that the goal will stand, but we'll have it confirmed. Mohamed Taki, the VAR official, with his first real involvement in the game, and what a key moment this is.
Could it be that two gentlemen with a combined age of 88 have engineered this first goal? Very experienced strikers, Yuya Osako and Yoshinori Muto. All eyes are now on the gentleman from Uzbekistan, who is in charge of this match.
Exact confirmation. He's pointing to the centre spot, which says to me it's goal, and we have it confirmed now. So yeah, the run was timed to perfection by Osako. Perfect cushioned header down into the stride of Muto, who didn't panic. He didn't try to finish too emphatically. He passed the ball into the net. That was all he needed to do. And yeah, it's the goal that Vissel Kobe deserved for their first half hour of this game. And now, game on, isn't it? Because this is another shock, if there's such a thing as a shock in this tournament this year.
Now the atmosphere has changed.
It's
and
flat,
the pressure,
isn't it?
yes, exactly the word.
So it's important for Ahli to...
Yes, he is perfectly comfortable to have a go,
yeah.
Jorge Ibanez.
And it's important they do that, even though it was nowhere near the goal. It's a shot. It's an aggressive intent to show we want to get back level as quickly as possible, to try to dispel that tense, not negative, I wouldn't say it's a negative atmosphere that's spread around the stadium, but apprehensive, I think, probably the better word. The fans are clearly apprehensive now. The players need to respond, and they wouldn't have expected this to be trailing after half an hour.
It wouldn't be an enormous shock if Jorge Ibanez were to score. He's scored 13 in just over 100 appearances for the club. He very nearly belted one in the round of 16 on the volley from a similar position.
Yeah, he's got a very clean strike. And the way modern balls move around in the air, if you hit it cleanly, it can be very difficult for goalkeepers. Just the one goal for him in this AFC Champions League elite campaign, but yeah, he won't mind striding forward again if he gets a chance.
Just a little too much mustard on the pass, looking for Tony.
Yeah, Tony's had absolutely nothing to feed off so far, has he? It is his job to stay high up the field. He's not expected to drop back and link play, but he would like something, and maybe he'll get it now.
Nice little touch on from Tony to Galeno. Can Galeno return the favour? Shut down by Sakai, who is having a superb game.
Love the celebration, because he managed to knock the ball against Galeno, appealed with passion for the decision to be given his way. The referee obliged, and he celebrated as though he just scored the goal, but it wasn't. It was Osako staying onside there by a shoulder length to knock the ball down and Muto calm. Saw the goalkeeper coming, obviously, but hit it with purpose, firmly past him, finding the gap between the goalkeeper and the post. His second goal in an hour of play, after scoring the equaliser in the quarter-final, and now the opener in the semi.
And in between that, he also scored in the penalty shootout, as did Yuya Osako. Yeah. And I think that's where your choice of the word calm is an apposite one, because those two, Osako and Muto, have been so calm throughout this whole knockout stage.
Yeah, and the way they've played together today, especially the two of them up front, they've held the ball up when they can, they've looked to link play when they can. On the right, you see there Mitsuta hasn't been as involved, who's come into the team, but those two, the veterans up front, both in their mid-30s, have led by example, because it is a nervy occasion for some of the Vissel Kobe players. Won't have played in this kind of atmosphere before, and so they need their veterans to show them it's okay, we're all right, we can be at home in this environment and take the game the way we want it to go.
Yes, the other appearance for Vissel Kobe, we'll come back to that in a moment, because here is Riyad Mahrez, and one does well to pay attention when Riyad Mahrez has the ball, as Al Duhail found out in the round of 16. It's going to be just a little too much for Galeno to get an immediate touch. Now giving support, Al-Hossawi, and it's going to be Mio, and it's up in the air and it's over the bar.
Yeah, two poor attempts from Mio. The second was very difficult as it dropped to him on his weaker foot on the half volley. There was an excellent header down by Atangano, I think. But then, yeah, he'll be disappointed. He did so well to arc his body to send it back, but then the slice and then the hook over the top. So not great finishing, but it is 3 shots, not on goal, but towards goal for Al Ahli in the 7 minutes since they've fallen behind. So a bit more intent from them. For Vissel Kobe now, it's about staying in front before half-time. Don't want the momentum of the game to change at this stage.
Now we are going to have a yellow card.
Yeah, it's not been too much for the referee to have to get involved with so far. Tantachev Ilgiz, it's been a nicely free-flowing game, played in a good spirit, and there was nothing vicious about that. Very high foot from Osako. It was clumsy, absolutely. And Demiral had every right to complain. So the first yellow card of the game for the man who assisted the goal.
He's got some pace and energy, hasn't he, for a 35-year-old Yuya Osako?
Well, and the hunger. As you've said, this is one of the biggest games in Vissel Kobe's history. The opportunity to advance to the AFC Champions League final. It's their second semi-final, I think, and as we spoke a little bit before the game about the growth of Japanese football, and what a matter of pride to have 2 semi-finalists, and how much it would mean for Japanese football if one of the teams could go on and win it. What about if it's an all-Japanese final, which no one would have predicted, I don't think, before the knockout rounds. But Vissel Kobe have been absolutely the better team so far here today.
Idiguchi.
Some groans there from the Al Ahli fans. It's not going to come to anything. I think he was offside, but with that loose touch from Demiral, there was a bit of frustration being expressed, and that's where, as you made the point earlier, that's where it can become a bit of a burden playing at home, because you've got that weight of expectation on your backs, and when things aren't going your way, it takes a lot of mental fortitude to come through that and believe in yourself and keep expressing yourself, not to become desperate. But I can't believe this was in the game plan for Al Ahli, that ball out from Mendy, just having to play it out, hopefully.
Had to be alert to that, Ibanez, but also alert to it was Makoto Mitsuta, the loanee from Gamba Osaka.
Demiral just needs to be a little bit careful. He felt the ball should have been going his team's way, doesn't want to prolong those protests or get himself in the referee's notebook. So another long throw. They do like to give Katsuya the opportunity to hurl it in. No doubt, as we saw from the free kick, Osako will probably be the main target, maybe making a run towards the near post, look to flick it on. He's just around the edge of the penalty area at the moment. Look for him to make a run.
5 or so minutes until half-time. Big spell of the game, touched on by the captain, Yamakawa, into the arms of the other captain, Edouard Mendy. He looks to distribute quickly, and there's a bit of space for Galeno through the centre, but no chance for him to be brought into play by Mahrez.
Well, this might be a bit cynical, but that is a very good foul by Ideguchi. You don't want Riyad Mahrez controlling the ball and turning to run at your defence 30 yards from goal when you're short of numbers at the back. It's a tactical foul. It's a little bit cynical, but it was absolutely the right thing for Ideguchi to do.
It's actually something that was urged by a lot of imported foreign coaches early on in the history of Japanese football, was to be more tactically aware in that way, to have a bit of what they might call malicia in South America. Well, that was a bit of malicia there, as Sakai just looked back and said, oh, come off it.
Yeah, I agree, come off it, nothing in that. A few complaints. Ivan Toney felt that he was bundled over, but I think he was waiting for the contact, invited the contact. Geisler's quite convinced that it should be looked at, isn't he? And I think that contact was initiated by Toney as much as by the defender, so for me that's not a penalty. The referee's done well.
Oh, that's been left completely. What an extraordinary moment. It just wouldn't drop low enough for Daiju Sasaki to make a really strong connection. Where did that happen?
He should have done better, and if you want to know how, if you haven't been watching the whole of the game yet, and you want to know what the pattern of the game has been, that little 5 seconds shows it. Inexplicable error from Al Ahli. You do not allow long ball forward. It's a fundamental rule of defending. Don't let the ball bounce and go towards your own goal. Everyone just watched it. There was obviously no clear communication between the back four, and really Daiju should have done better. As you said, it did just sit up for him a little, but he had space and just a lack of composure to lift that attempted chip over Mendy. And that would have really left Al Ahli in a tricky spot.
Entomio starting to get a little more involved in the match. Here is Galeno.
Where are his options? There's so little coherence. Everything is hopeful from Al Ahli.
And there are too many wasted balls like that.
Far too much of that. Needlessly giving the ball away. Yeah, this is going to be really concerning, and it's a big 15 minutes coming up for Matthias Geisler, the Al Ahli coach. Firstly, does he make any changes, either tactically or in personnel, or both? And can he reorganise his players, and can he get them fired up a little bit, because they're playing in as though they're stuck in mud at the moment. There's no zing about them, there's no dynamism about the way they're playing.
And Hossawi must make a quick decision. With ample time and with no need to be ostentatious here, Tetsushi Yamakawa just goes back to his goalkeeper, with holding on until half-time, the main purpose for Vissel Kobe now.
Now, where are the options near Kessié? He hasn't got a teammate within 30 yards of him. Where's the rest of the midfield? The midfield trio, Mio and Atangana.
Well, the attack is still alive just about, and it's going to be a free kick right on the edge of the area as Kessié was clipped.
Actually, the one who's driving Al Ahli forward is the left-back, Housaoui, whose pass that was. He's been the one to to try and take a bit of initiative, force the issue a little bit for his team. And yeah, that was a good run from Kessié, clumsy tackle and great opportunity as we head to stoppage time.
Utagorke shown a yellow card.
Yeah, that's clearly a foul. I think, again, Kessié was happy to take it, waited for the contact to come, but it's not a good angle for Mahrez to shoot. In fact, he's not even over the ball, the set-piece specialist. Galeno, though, he can certainly hit it. We saw that in the quarter-final with his spectacular winner. It's a little bit wide, but I'd imagine he'll shoot here.
Galeno to try to invigorate the Al Ahli Saudi cause, and it's off the post! The attack is still alive. Very well blocked and cleared, but that could have changed the whole dynamic.
Well, we've had big moment at both ends, haven't we? The chance for Daiju a couple of minutes ago, and then that biggest threat that Al Ahli have produced so far. I was wrong, and I think probably the Vissel Kobe defence were expecting the shot as well. And so they were just caught out a little bit by the cross.
Mio, great opportunity, just wide from Tony.
Yeah, clever idea from Tony, because it was a little bit behind him, so he went for the little dragged flick through his legs, trying to find it into the near post. Difficult skill to accomplish. He might have been offside, actually, but doesn't matter. But it was good play for the first time, really, by Mio, who's been very quiet and possibly one of the candidates to be replaced with Mateus Gonçalves off the bench. But yeah, that was a a thumping header, I think we could call that, from Ryan. Very narrow angle. He did well to even get it close, and that's the best they've produced so far, and possibly the last we'll see in this first half.
We are coming to the end of the 2 additional minutes. Can you imagine if the young man who was born in the city of Jeddah had scored? Would have been just his 3rd goal for the club, but Al Ahli Saudi are still waiting to get onto the scoreboard. A fascinating first half.
Yeah, and all credit to Vissel Kobe, firstly for their approach, the way they've taken the game to Al Ahli from the opening whistle. Deserved the goal, could have had a second, but we know Al Ahli won't be finished. These fans won't allow it.
Courtesy of the 31st minute goal from Yoshinori Muto at half-time, it's Vissel Kobe 1, Al Ahli Saudi 0. jeers to cheers. A lovely warm reception. It was not for Vissel Kobe as they came back out onto the field of play from the Ahli Saudi faithful, and now they get behind their team. Their team will need that support. There's going to be a change at half-time. Yuta Gorke, who was shown a yellow card in the first half, has been replaced by the impressive young Mitsuki Hidaka, who actually scored in the penalty shootout in the quarter-final stage, despite having a broken toe. There'll be broken hearts for Al Ahli Saudi if it continues thus. Very interesting, Andy, to contemplate what this second half might bring us.
Yeah, and very important that Al Ahli make a positive start, because the trailing at the break was not in their plan for the evening, and they need to get some momentum in this game, which they haven't been able to establish at all.
The second half is underway. The setting is Jeddah and the King Abdullah Sports City Stadium. Vissel Kobe leading Al Ahli Saudi by a goal to nil, and making a change at half-time, bringing on Mitsuki Hidaka, number 44, in the midfield for number 5, Yuta Gorke, who was shown a yellow card in the first half.
I'd imagine, we'll just see if this develops.
And it is going to be a test for Maekawa. It's Mahrez, there's space, there's a chance, and the chance has gone. Slightly tense moment, though, more than slightly, for Daya Maekawa.
That's the first time, really, that I can recall Maekawa being tested with a cross, and he didn't look particularly convincing with it. That might give Al Ahli a bit of encouragement to put a few more balls under his nose and see if he can be forced into an error.
What for you is essential now from a Vissel Kobe perspective? What do they need to keep doing or do differently?
I think it's do differently. I'd say it's a couple of things. Firstly, just play quicker. They were too slow, too pedestrian in what they did in the first half, and try to establish more presence in midfield.
In from Mahrez, but not really in. That says a lot.
He's been poor, he really has, and this is the time he has to step up. He's the best known player, the superstar of the team.
Mio towards the back post, good chance, and it's wide.
Great opportunity. Toulea, could he have gone for goal himself? He looked to put it back across into the stride of a teammate, but he was unmarked in a good position. He obviously thought the angle's too narrow. Maybe he is trying to score there, but it was a great opportunity. He will be, I think he was trying to score, and I think he'll be frustrated that he wasn't able to get it on target. Vissel Kobe switched off, leaving Matthias Toulea unmarked from a free kick is not something they should allow to happen. So just a bit of a worrying sign for them. They need to switch right on here, because the second half has started well for Al Ahli.
Well, Roger Ibanez, as we mentioned earlier, has scored on more than one occasion for the club. He scored over a dozen goals for them.
Yeah, he's a threat, and I say he'll be disappointed he didn't do more. But it was a good delivery as well from Mio, which they've got to find more of.
Just a few little warning signs for Vissel Kobe right at the start of the second half. Bravery was the mantra before the match, now vigilance perhaps in the second half. Here is Nagato. And we just remind ourselves, Andy, that they had a great chance, Vissel Kobe, to go 2-0 up with Daiju Sasaki.
Yeah, misjudged ball over the top, misjudged by the defence. The entire Al Ahli defence left it to each other, and Daiju was able to run in behind into space, edge of the area. The ball was dropping, wouldn't quite drop quickly enough for him, so he had to take it high, and he didn't get enough power on the attempted chip. But they could very easily be 2-0 up now. But let's see how Al Ahli can play the ball out here, if they can, because so often in the first half they resorted to this, and again, it's not working for them. That is something they would have wanted to fix. They are a team that likes to play. They want to be able to build up possession, maintain possession, get the opposition running around chasing the ball. It's just not happened at all throughout this game for them, and there's an early sign that they're still struggling to find that kind of fluency when they play out from the back.
This time tomorrow, the second semi-final will be at the same stage. Majda Zelvia of the Japanese top flight, the J-League, against Shabab Al-Ahli. Possibility of an all-Japanese AFC Champions League Elite final. Also the possibility of two finalists from the West region.
Also the possibility of back-to-back titles for Al-Ahli, which has not happened for more than 20 years. Shows you how difficult it is to retain this title at the elite level of Asian football.
Tony using his physical strength. It's Ivan Toney, and he's put it in. Is he onside?
Well, the linesman says no, but we will see. It was tight. He did really well. He used his body. You said he used his strength. He used his body to hold off the defender, but then he had to have good touch as well to get the ball out from under his feet, but not so far ahead of him that the chance went. Let's see. It's tight, isn't it? Maybe he's just leaning offside the left shoulder, but look how well he does here. That touch was great, and the second to set himself up for the shot, which he finished well, shrugging off the defender. That's his first sniff of goal. Well, it counts. It was very close, as the goal was that did stand for Vissel Kobe in the first half. And it's not going to count, so well done to the linesman for getting the decision right first time, because it was borderline. I'm sure we'll see the image to confirm just how close it was. But even so, it's an encouraging sign for Al-Ahli that they got Ivan Toney into the game. He put the ball in the net. Okay, it didn't count, but it will give him confidence. He will want more. And I like the way that Mahrez taken the throw in quickly there. They're wanting to play at that higher tempo I talked about.
How many more gentle warnings do Vissel Kobe need?
Yeah. You can just feel the atmosphere changing. And again, Mahrez wanting to take the throw in quickly. He doesn't in the end because he didn't see an option, but they are wanting to increase the speed at which they're operating. And the fans are responding.
Here is Galeno, great assist maker.
Demiral at the near post could be his target.
Galeno's throw is a long one, is a challenging one, and it was Demiral. But it was easy for Maikawa that time. Yeah,
what he would have wanted to do was flick that on or nod that down, not towards goal. It's from a long throw, it doesn't have the power on the ball, doesn't have the pace on the ball that a cross would off the foot to be able to score with a header. It's very difficult to get that kind of purchase on it.
What do you think his team, Matthias Jasler's team, has done differently at the start of this second half?
It's that tempo, I think, playing more quickly and a bit more aggressively. I think we saw the stat towards the end of the first half, only 2 fouls committed, and okay, you don't want your team to make fouls, but sometimes that shows you're being aggressive, you're not allowing the opposition to settle. That was poor though by Mendy. He's lucky to get away with it. And again, that same story, that has continued to be a problem, playing out from the back, which they like to do. Mendy is more than competent with the ball at his feet, but they've been forced to resort into just playing long and rather aimlessly most of the time.
Goal scorer Yoshinori Muto, somebody who's going to be very interesting to keep an eye on in this half as well. We'll come back to it because this ball has totally unexpectedly fallen to Makoto Mitsuta.
And it was because of a poor touch from Milo, who, for me, if he stays on the field beyond the hour mark, he's lucky. He's not been at his game tonight. As we see the confirmation of the offside, it was his shoulder that was just offside. And his ear, maybe. You can score with your ear, can't you? If you get across the wrong way, but yeah, good decision, just offside.
Well, they'll be here today, gone tomorrow, Al Ahli Saudi, if
dear.
it continues like this, especially if it continues like this. This could be the second, it's off the bar from Sasaki.
What a strike. Well, we criticised his finish in the first half when he ran through onto a long ball, but that one, he could barely have hit better. And look at...
Did he touch that?
I'm not sure. The replay will show us. Not from that replay he didn't, but very cleanly struck. No touch from the keeper. He was beaten. But the woodwork to the rescue. So a warning sign, and again, Vissel Kobe credits them for not just saying, right, we defend what we have. They want, when they get the opportunity, to continue to push for a second goal. The game's starting to open up, a bit more stretched than we saw in the first half. That theoretically should suit Al Ahli. It should allow their individual players to shine, and it often happens at around this time of a game.
Mahrez, he has a little too much space from the perspective of Vissel Kobe. They do close him down.
Guess who again? Ideguchi. He's been doing that brilliantly all night.
What a fascinating match it is.
Now I think when Mahrez goes to bed tonight, he might have to kick Ideguchi out of the way first. He's got there before him, blocking his space, as he has done all night. But with Mahrez, he doesn't need much. Just give him a chance, he can make it count. And there will be chances to come for Al Ahli. I feel Vissel Kobe need a second goal.
Sasaki tried to get it out of defence, but it is with Riyad Mahrez. Mahrez, this is a tricky ball, but just too much power on it. The idea was a sound one.
The idea was, but the execution wasn't. And we all know his quality, and I've just been saying how he doesn't need much of a chance to produce a decisive moment, but he hasn't done tonight. And you start to think, if you're Matthias Geisler, as we look back on this wonderful attempt from Daiju Sasaki, if you're Geisler, you're thinking, okay, when do I make changes? Who do I bring off? Mahrez is not having a good game, but can you take him off? Can you take off one of the most talented players in world football when you're in a semi-final and you're losing and you need a goal? Even though he's not having his game, it would be a big call for it.
They've got people like Mateus Gonçalves potentially to bring on. There is somebody who can add a different kind of creativity. Saleh Abu Al-Shamat, the young man from Jeddah, number 47, he could come into play.
Yeah, and Ferraz as well, the striker, probably alongside Ivan Toney rather than replacing him. They might, if they continue a goal down, they might have to give him a partner up front to play off each other.
And there, that little ripple of dissatisfaction that echoed around this cavernous stadium.
A strange header from Ryan, no harm done, but it was an odd misplaced touch, and we've had plenty of those. And again, I'm sounding like a broken record, but they can't see a way of playing out, so in the end they just have to do something hopeful like this and give the ball away.
Well, the reason you're sounding like a broken record is because they're doing the same thing again and again.
It's a consistent pattern, isn't it? And what you've got to do then, if you have to resort to playing hopeful balls rather than precise passes, you've got to have the people like Kessié and Atangana winning the second ball, winning the loose ball, to then pick it up and start the phase of play higher up the field. They haven't been doing that tonight.
It's another yellow card, the third shown to Vissel Kobe, and this could be a problematic yellow card because it's Yosuke Ideguchi, I think. Or was it?
Might be
actually Hidaka? Yes.
He made the first challenge, and then if it is on Ideguchi, it's a harsh one, because the first challenge from Hidaka pushed really Ivanez onto him. We'll look to get that confirmed.
Either way, it's not ideal for Mikhail Shkiba's players, because it's a central midfielder who's picked up a yellow card.
Yeah, and that's the area of the field where most of the challenges fly in.
Galeno, the ball flies in towards Mahrez. Mahrez with a simple pass, but well intercepted.
Yeah, great anticipation. I think that was Hidaka. on the edge of the area, sensing that Mahrez was going for the cutback.
Still Mahrez.
Handball appeal.
They're convinced, aren't they?
The fans more than the players. I mean, some on the sidelines. Now let's see the ball going out. How much of an appeal is there? Not so much from the players on the field. Now, if your hand is on the floor to balance yourself, that, in the laws of the game, is not handball. If you're using your hand to balance yourself on the floor, to stop yourself from falling, and the ball hits it, it is not handball. So, good decision from the referee again, who's been very spot on with his decision so far. Yeah, and he's not running to the sidelines to have a look at the VAR, he's running to book Jäsler for his complaints.
He is an authoritative gentleman, isn't he, young Matthias Jäsler, in how he conducts himself on the sidelines, how he conducts himself in interviews as well. He has a lot of self-belief.
He's passionate.
A very fine young coach.
Well, you don't get to be leading an elite world-class team like this at the age of 38 unless you have self-confidence and a belief in what you can do to mould a team. But he's at a very interesting juncture of the game now, an hour in. It's been a bit better from Al Ahli in this second half, but they're still trailing, still not finding flows. We see there again a move breaking down far too easily. When does he turn to the bench, and how does he turn to the bench? It might be that going more direct, putting Ferraz on alongside Tony and starting to play upfield for the two of them to play together. And then the two of them running into each other there. But if you have two strikers up the field, you can play those long balls, and even if you don't win it cleanly, the presence of the two strikers can unsettle the defenders and allow others to join in.
And they have demonstrated, albeit the chance was offside, that if they can get a ball onto Tony, he's got the physical strength to maybe work his way past the centre of the Vissel defence.
Oh dear.
Gosh. Behind it goes.
Could have gone anywhere, couldn't it? I wondered first if it might loop over the goalkeeper from Godoku as he sliced it behind for a corner. And tiredness will come into this. We mentioned this in the first half, didn't we? It's only 3 or 4 days since the quarter-finals. And Vissel Kobe played, obviously, the extra half hour, extra time. Ferraz getting ready to come on as we've been anticipating.
Before that, the corner kick swinging inwards from Riyad Mahrez. Can he find the quality delivery needed? And it's Ibanez, it's loose, and it just doesn't quite fall into the path of a white shirt. Mio. Temptation is to shoot, it's a beauty! What an unbelievable goal to make it 1-1.
Well, you cannot hit the football more cleanly than that. We saw already a spectacular goal from him to win the quarter-final, and Galeno here has produced something even better. It was speculative, I thought he was winding up to shoot because the fans were encouraging to do so, but not from there. And then, oh, what a strike, sensational. And that is the individual quality we've spoken about for Al Ahli throughout, that hasn't been on display yet, but it can come to the fore at any moment, and here it is. You will not see a football struck more sweetly than this. Look how far out he is. Sensational. I think it was past the goalkeeper before he even really entered into his dive. It was hit so well. And so now, yeah, that's what Al Ahli needed, the individual brilliance to come through. And what a test now for Vissel Kobe to try to keep on doing what they have been doing and not allow their game to be, not allow their confidence to be knocked by conceding there, because you can be sure Al Ahli will be buzzing now.
The AFC Champions League Elite, the semi-final, half an hour or so to go, 1-1, and suddenly Al Ahli Saudi have all the momentum. Vissel Kobe need to get the ball under control. Here's Mahrez. Will there be another moment of individual brilliance? Suddenly he's got a presence. Suddenly they've got life, they've got vivacity, and they very nearly had a chance for a second goal. Offside anyway.
There's some respite for Vissel Kobe, and they need it. Because they're ragged now, they have been knocked, not just by obviously conceding the goal, but by the change in the atmosphere of the game, the mood of the game. There's the offside flag, well done by the linesman. Just listen to it now. Deafening noise in here to salute this special goal. 2 games in a row that Galeno has delivered magical moments for Al Ahli. And if they end up winning this title and defending their title, it'll be in large part thanks to him. Long way to go, though.
No foul, it's Osako. Oh, going down. Well, that's an interesting one. No immediate sense of decision, anything other than play on. Tadaji Sasaki certainly went to ground. There may be a further conversation.
Well, he flicked the ball over his head, away from the defender, and then Libania ran into him. There's a bit of a case to answer here, I think. It's not being reviewed, which is, at times, that's what you want. Get on with the game. You can have too many VAR interventions, but that was a borderline one. Probably one that if it'd been given a penalty, it wouldn't have been overturned.
Mahrez. It's amazing how sometimes, after all of the tactical intricacies of elite level sport, a lot can come down simply to good old-fashioned momentum and psychology.
Yeah, and sheer physical effort. They are working harder now. They're being more physical. They're being more muscular in their challenges. They're playing with a greater intensity, and that has changed things. And yeah, we talk about patterns and teamwork and structure, but sometimes all it needs is someone to smack the ball in the top corner from 30 yards. Not much you can do about that. You've got to have quite a bit of talent to be able to do that.
Yes, I love the way you say all it needs is someone to smack it in from 30 yards.
Why not?
An incredible goal from Galeno, and a reminder of the quality that you get in the AFC Champions League Elite. I hope wherever you're watching from and whoever you're supporting, you're enjoying this super semi-final between Vissel Kobe and Al Ahli Saudi. Great entertainment. It's going to be Atangana to Mahrez. This is a dangerous moment for Vissel Kobe. Mahrez, and it's loose. Just ricocheted around in front of the goal.
Well, they're hanging on now at the moment, Vissel Kobe, and we're seeing Mahrez and Galeno have touched the ball, I would suggest, more in the last 5 minutes than they did in the first hour. And I think it's fair to say the fans have responded.
And for the first time now we've got shaky clearances like that from Vissel Kobe. It was the other way round for most of the match. Can Al Ahli Saudi do what Vissel Kobe couldn't do and get the second goal when they were on top? Mahrez trying to get past Nagato, who's done well. Now back to Hamed.
Yeah, well, their temperature's up, isn't it? They're feeling it now. They all want to be part. They want to be positive. They want to take the game by the scruff of the neck. Their fans want them to as well. And that was a very shaky attempted punch clear again by the goalkeeper, who's a good shot stopper, but he's not shown himself to be too comfortable with the ball aerially for him to deal with.
Now Jean-Patrick has come on for Vissel Kobe, the player who scored the winning penalty in the quarter-final stage. We're also seeing Firas Al-Buraikan come on for Meri Demiral. That's an interesting change.
It is, and that was the debate that we were having before the equaliser, wasn't it? Firas to come on was an obvious change. The question would be, would it be instead of Tony or alongside him? And it's the latter. very positive move to go with 2 strikers now. We'll see where Ferraz plays. At the moment, he's going to be a support striker, it seems.
And meanwhile, Makoto Mitsuta has come off for Vissel Kobe to be replaced by, as we were saying earlier, Jean-Patrick, who will provide something in wide positions in the attack.
If they get the ball. But at the moment, it's one-way traffic. The game has changed since the first half. And Vissel Kobe, if it continues like this, if the pattern of the game stays the same, it's only a matter of time, I feel, until Al Ahly score again.
Here is the substitute, Firas Al Buraikan, 25, from the capital city of Riyadh.
Yeah, and he's been heavily involved throughout this AFC Champions League elite, not often starting, but 9 appearances, 10 now with this one. Only the 1 goal, but a bright start, winning the throw-in an advanced position.
And a huge performer for Saudi Arabia as they beat Indonesia in World Cup qualifying. Scored a couple of big goals, so he likes a big occasion, and that's a big testing ball. Tony's put it in. Maikawa lost it, not for the first time. He has his hands on his head, and Ivan Toney has given Al Ahly Saudi the advantage.
The referee's just asking his linesman if there was an Al Ahly player on the line in an offside position. We'll see, but yeah, you said it, not for the first time. In fact, it was the 3rd time in this second half that Maikawa has struggled with a cross, flapped at it, pushed it away, not very far, and Toney stabbing it over the line. But we'll see here, and it's going to be Ibanez. He's offside, isn't he? He is offside. I don't think he's going to touch it. He tried to get out of the way, but was he interfering with the defender's attempt to clear the ball? That is a subjective call. It has to be now from the VAR official, Mohamed Taki, looking at this. He didn't touch it, but he was active. So it could be overturned, even though he was absolutely trying to get out of the way.
Is Ivan Toney going to have a 2nd goal disallowed in this match, having missed a penalty kick in the round of 16?
Only 1 goal so far in the AFC Champions League Elite. Waiting with bated breath to find out. And it's one that you could argue either way. You could say, no, he was getting out of the way, and it has been allowed to stand. So Al Ahly, 2 goals in 10 minutes, they're revived. And it's all on Vissel Kobe now to try to get themselves out of this hole that they've been forced into, really, by greater intensity from Al Ahly in the second half. You've got to say as well, that was really poor goalkeeping, and we'd seen it coming. That's the 3rd time that he hadn't been able to deal with those crosses.
Well, you offered the suggestion that they might just put a few higher balls into the penalty area to see if they could continue to unnerve Daya Maikawa. You imagine that the way that he lunged at that first one gave them the invitation to do it more and more and more until eventually he broke.
And in general, they've been more direct in this second half. They've been getting the ball to the final third more quickly. And it's going to be interesting now to see how they go about it now that they've got the lead. Do they continue to play this way and look for a third that would pretty much finish the game? I think they should.
Nagato, that was a good ball. And it's going to be Muto. Can he get it under control? No, it just smacks into the substitute Hidaka. And bringing a little calmness to things was Valentin Atangana.
Well, they've got the 2 strikers on, haven't they, with Ferraz now up front alongside Toney. That kind of ball is something they haven't been able to play.
And another yellow card to another Vissel Kobe player. It is Matheus Tuller. Really impressive, this whole transformation from Al Ahly Saudi.
Yeah, and that's what elite teams do, isn't it? That's why they win tournaments. It helps when the goalkeeper gives the ball, palms the ball straight onto your striker's right foot. Desperate attempt to clear it, but it's the intent. They're still not playing particularly well in terms of flowing football, but there's much more drive about them, much more determination. And this is dangerous.
Mahrez, it's behind. Going back to that finish from Ivan Toney, simple a goal though it was, one imagines that there would be a lot of players who might be tempted to try and bring that ball under control, position themselves to shoot, and he showed that huge experience he has as a goal scorer in just taking it first time, not the cleanest connection, but just to be immediate.
And the importance of that, you're absolutely right, Ollie, and the importance of that is that the goalkeeper was out of position and Mahrez is in.
Mahrez, he must do, surely. It is 3! All the space in the world, all the belief in the world. Ahli Saudi, the defending champions, have a 2-goal cushion.
Riyad Mahrez has been way below his best so far tonight, but we've said it throughout the game. He only needs one opportunity to show his quality, and there, the key to that goal was the touch, the control that brought it instantly under his spell and allowed him to then just open up his body onto his left foot and slide it into the corner. The finish was relatively easy once he got himself into that position by taking it so beautifully. Close though, so again, every goal we're getting an offside, a borderline offside decision.
This is quite tight.
Yeah. Look at that control though. One touch, and he didn't need another one. He didn't need another touch to then set himself to shoot. Just that one touch, delicately with the outside of his foot, and then he could open his body up. World class.
This is a huge video review
Not
call, it's
gonna
offside.
count. So, well, Vissel Kobe stay alive, because if that had counted, last 15 minutes down by 2 in this environment, I don't think they would have come back. But now they're still very much in the game, of course. Obviously, Mahrez wants to know, was it me? Was either one offside? Yes, you were.
Sometimes big football matches, semi-finals and finals especially, are a touch attritional there on the cagey side. This has been fabulous.
It has, yeah, right from the beginning, starting thanks to Vissel Kobe, the way they attacked the game in the first half with such positive intent, getting so many players forward in a constructive and controlled way, absolutely not in a gung-ho fashion. There was nothing chaotic about the way they attacked. They were doing it in a collective and controlled manner. That ball's going to have to get off the pitch before we can restart. And now there's a little example of how Ahli will try to manage the game. I think it was Milo who had the ball bouncing past him. He's not going to kick it out. He's not going to let them get on with the game quickly. Winning throw-ins, little fouls, breaking up the tempo. That's something that Ahli now have plenty of players who are experienced in winning a game from this position in the last few minutes.
And now, to you, Andy, the question that I've asked you throughout this match about what Ahli Saudi do to turn the game around, but this time for Vissel Kobe, what next?
They've got to somehow find composure again, because they were so composed throughout the first hour, but now things are going astray, like little headers like that, and then there's very close to being a handball,
and there's
it's
a lack of
pass.
composure. Yes, Tony has Mahrez on the overlap. What an opportunity, and that's a great challenge. My goodness, it's Ideguchi again.
Of course it is. Who else would it be? He's been fantastic today, but the game is stretched, and this is what we spoke about in the first half, the physical element. Vissel Kobe coming off an extra time game. They're a hard running team. It's hard to keep running for 120 minutes, then come back 4 days later and do it again. And well, what they're doing is a couple of substitutions. So we'll see whether the new entrants can change the game back into their direction. Rikuto and Komatsu coming on.
Daiju Sasaki and Gotoku Sakai, the players departing. Ren Komatsu has scored a few times in the league this season. He's yet to score in the AFC Champions League Elite, and Rikuto Hirose will provide a little freshness to the defence.
Yeah, they need freshness all over the pitch now because they are physically struggling. And this is now the game maybe we expected from the beginning, with Al Ahli in control. Moving the ball well, getting onto the loose balls, winning it back when they lose it. Vissel Kobe have been understandably a bit shell-shocked by relinquishing their lead. 2 quick goals. And this is where you spoke in the first half about how the atmosphere can be both a blessing and a curse. This is where it very much helps Al Ahli. They're playing in their stadium in front of 50,000 fans who are roaring them forward. It's hard to withstand that as well as the opposition when you're on the receiving end of it.
A foul there by Ren Komatsu. He's a very interesting player. When we look back at this one that was so close, my word.
Yep, leaning forward. Mahrez, so that's a shame for him to have the goal chalked off, because it was a beautiful finish, or beautiful touch to set up the finish. And that would have finished the game really as a contest. So from the neutral perspective, good job it was called off, because we've got a grandstand finish ahead of us in the next 10 minutes.
I'm sure Riyad Mahrez feels exactly the same as you.
Yeah. Oh, why not keep them in it? Let's be sporting about it. Now this little stoppage will be good for Vissel Kobe, because they need to somehow find their composure again, refocus, remember what they were doing well earlier in the game, and try and gradually take the game forward again, and hope they get a chance or two. Then it's down to being clinical enough to take it.
And let's do Vissel Kobe the justice they deserve. They were a goal down against FC Seoul in the second leg of their round of 16 match and turned it around with 2 goals. They were 3-1 down, 1-0 and 3-1 down against Al Sadd in the quarter-final and managed to win that. So they will fight, they will work hard, surely, in the remainder of this contest.
Of course, yeah, and they will believe that they can still get back into it. When you score late goals to eventually win games, it gives you the belief that you can keep on doing it. But what we'll also see is chances for Al Ahli, if they want to be bold enough to push players forward. They're in that position now of having to decide collectively, okay, how many risks do we take? Because Vissel Kobe have to take risks. And so if they want to push players forward to support the front two, there will be gaps for them to exploit and really put the game to bed.
And they're asking a lot of number 29, Ren Komatsu, the fresh legs up front. He's scored 4 goals in all competitions for the club. Fantastic record in the lower leagues, but he's very new to the top flight of Japanese football, and by virtue of that to Asian club competition. Not that he's going to get very near the ball if that keeps going on. No,
that's just a sign of the unease that has spread throughout Vissel Kobe now. We didn't see anything like that in the first half. That was just a desperate swipe away because he knew he was under pressure from a goalkeeper who will be feeling it. He'll be feeling rotten because he knows that was poor goalkeeping for the goal that Tony converted to send Al Ahli ahead.
And he's played over 200 times for the club that he loves so dearly.
Good from John Patrick. That's the first time we've seen him get on the ball since he was introduced, and that is what he can offer. He's not the most reliable of players, maybe inconsistent, but he's got the talent running with the ball especially. And that's the first yellow card for Al Ahli today, for Ryan.
The ball is with Edouard Mendy, and we have, probably factoring in additional time, around 10 minutes to go in this semi-final of the AFC Champions League Elite 2025-2026.
Perhaps a little more, because we've had a few VAR checks, had a few stoppages. I'd say 5-6 at least at the moment, and that will probably be added to. We'll have to see how Vissel Kobe are going to try to create attacking options. John Patrick on the left wing is possibly their best outlet. We saw the run from him a minute ago. That was aimed towards him as well. It's a nasty landing for Ryan, landing on the base of his spine. But attacking down that left-hand side could be the best way for Vissel Kobe to try and find chances, especially with Mahrez maybe not the most natural defender down that flank, so there might be a lot of work for Ryan to do as the right fullback if he can continue.
They'll hope that he can. He's a hard-working young lad, Ryan Hamed. He's having a real breakthrough season for Al Ahli Saudi. Scored his first 2 goals for the club.
And here's the moment that sent Al Ahli into the lead. Poor goalkeeping. Tony, as you made the point, we didn't get the chance to finish it because I think Mahrez had his disallowed goal, but Tony could have taken a touch and given himself a chance to hit it more cleanly, but he saw obviously that the goalkeeper was out of position, so in his mind was just put it towards goal. And even if it doesn't go in cleanly, it might take a deflection, it might find its way through exactly as it did. Instinctive, obviously, he didn't have time to think about it, but that was exactly the right thing to do rather than allowing defenders to get back and cover the goal.
Now Yosuke Ideguchi has been replaced.
It's good news for Mahrez.
Isn't it just? And indicative probably of a little fatigue for Ideguchi if he's being taken off at this stage. Young Kento Hamasaki has come on. He's only 18, a player who's made his way up from the youth team. One to watch in several years' time, Kento Hamasaki. He's a great prospect. Back in it goes, touched on by Osako, and it was Komatsu.
Yeah. Acrobatic attempt, good effort under pressure. Just didn't quite get enough on it. If he'd made a firmer contact, it would have taken it. I think he was offside, but it would have taken it away from Mendy rather than straight at him. But showed good technique. That's instinctive as well.
Just a couple of years ago, Ren Komatsu was the top scorer in the Japanese 3rd division. He's had a fair old rise, yes.
Yeah, to this continental semi-final in front of 50-odd thousand. Game on the line.
And who's going to join the winner of this in the final? Maçta Zelvia, Shabab Al Ahli meeting at the same time as this match tomorrow night.
It's a foul by Ibanez. And it's just got to be a little bit careful to give away those set pieces, because we saw the set piece a minute ago that led to the half chance. Vissel Kobe will send players forward, and Al Ahli don't want to concede these needlessly.
There's already been a very good delivery from Katsuya Nagato that he got on the end of at Yuya Osako, putting it into the path of Yoshinori Muto. So here is Katsuya Nagato again. And his ball has found Komatsu, and they did manage to stay onside.
They did, but I think the referee's given a free kick. Foul on the edge of the box. 3 Al Ahli players down at one moment. Galeno, one of those. And yeah, there was an elbow actually, I think, from Komatsu. I wonder if this is going to be looked at into the face of Ibanez. The VAR official might well pick this up, because he did seem to swing an elbow into the face of the defender. And I think that's the point being made by Kessier to the referee, saying you need to look at that. He would say, no doubt, well, I was just trying to get free, but you put an elbow up, you're endangering yourself.
Well, this with a matter of minutes to go, should it be reviewed by Mr. Taki, will be a moment that might extinguish any realistic chances for the Japanese team, as the Hinomaru, the flag of Japan, is fluttering but not hugely happily held by the Vissel Kobe fans, who can see time frustratingly ticking away.
I think we can say, though, Roger Ibanez will be back up on his feet. He's a tough customer. He will not want to leave this to a substitute to get the result over the line. What a great time he's having in Saudi Arabia, in Asian football. He's obviously come from Italy, had a couple of years with Roma, but now 3 years with Al Ahli. He's been a fundamental part of their growth as a club. He was one of the starters in last season's final. They had 6 of the starters from last season's final starting today as well, so that shows the continuity of the project.
And he really knows his way around continental competition, as well does Jose Ibanez, having played in the UEFA Champions League, the UEFA Europa League and the Sudamericana as well.
And internationally for Brazil, a handful of caps as well, so not bad pedigree there. Yeah, it's difficult now for Vissel Kobe. I think they're on the ropes, to use a boxing analogy. Their energy has been sapped.
Well, we're going to find out how much time is to be added.
I think a fair bit. I'd say 7 or 8. I think we've had quite a few stoppages, substitutions, obviously, VAR reviews, a couple of injury delays. 7 or 8 minutes, I think, which is the good news for Vissel Kobe. The bad news is that at the moment they don't look like doing anything with it. Well, the ref looks confused. He's obviously in discussion with his colleagues, but he doesn't seem to be sure about what.
We should just point out as well that Vissel Kobe have made all of their changes. Just the one made by Ahli Saudi.
Which is very unusual now. Football is very much a 16-man game. It's a push by Galeno. That's a big change. It came with COVID, didn't it? The move to 5 substitutions, and I think we were accustomed to talking about what's your strongest 11, what's your team. There's no such a thing now as a team. You really do have to use your full squad. So unusual that Ahli haven't done so yet. This is going to go back. The referees.
Yes. Vissel Kobe have got to use the 6 additional minutes they have if the game can get really meaningfully restarted. Hugely important connection needed now from Daya Maekawa to get this long. It's now rather into gambling territory for Vissel Kobe. As the touch on from Komatsu could have found Osako on another day. He's down.
Head injury, or potential one, so the referee stops the game to have a check. He's shown himself to be very aggressive, determined, not afraid to put himself about. There was a mid-air collision, but I don't think any harm is done.
Mathias Tuller on the diagonal. Just gets a connection at Yuya Osako. And then Hidaka, as it's rather pinballing its way around. And just pumped up into the air. Can they get this ball under control, the Japanese team, and cultivate something meaningful? No, they can't. Just sliced up into the air by Mathias Tuller.
It's all a bit scrappy, isn't it? And this is the sign of a set of players who put a lot of work in.
And here is Riyad Mahrez to take advantage. It's nicely saved by Maekawa. You could just feel those impact players for Ahli Saudi saying, you want scrappy, let's have enough of that. We'll get the ball under control and win it.
And nearly putting the game to bed. Good save again from Maekawa. There's been nothing wrong with his shot stopping. It's his vulnerability with crosses, which has possibly been the decisive moment in the end. He didn't deal with that cross. Tony scored. That's why Al Ahli are ahead.
And life is cruel, isn't it? Because he's been such a great performer for them in the knockout stage.
Oh, he kept them in it during extra time of the quarter-final against Al Sadd. A couple of great saves.
Looking for the touch on. Osako was beaten by Jose Ibanez. Galeno, who scored that beautiful goal from distance, working hard to Mio. And it is going to be a Vissel Kobe ball. That was quick thinking from Hamasaki.
Something I like that Matthias Geisler has done is left the 2 forwards on. So often when teams are in this position in the last 5 or 10 minutes, defending a 1-goal lead, they bring on an extra centre-back, go to 5 at the back, take off a striker, and maybe he's doing exactly what I've been saying. I'm glad he wasn't doing. But it is Mahrez who's coming off, not one of the 2 strikers. But when you do that, when you go to 5 at the back, it's almost giving up on the game and saying, okay, well, we're not going to bother attacking anymore. We're just going to back ourselves to clear whatever you can put our way.
Riyad Mahrez departs, and as things stand, will be returning for the final of the AFC Champions League Elite. The substitute is Mohamed Abdul Rahman. Right back, Mornin Medina.
So that's to double up on the flank with John Patrick, the threat of him on the left for Vissel Kobe. He'll be expected to defend a bit more than Mahrez would. But these last few minutes have been perfect for Al Ahli. It's been scrappy, it's been fragmented, lots of stoppages, not allowing Vissel Kobe to build any meaningful attacking play. It took them a while to get going, Al Ahli. They were very poor in the first half, but credit to them for the way they've turned it around from a difficult position.
Just over a minute to go. There may be a little more time added on for some of the stoppages we've had within additional time.
I think so, yeah. And the substitute that we just saw, so we might go to 97, even 98.
But the reigning champions, as things stand, are continuing the defence of their title and will be participating in Saturday's final to meet either Majda Zelvia or Shabab Al Ahli.
Here again. I think they'll get a decent atmosphere for that, won't they? A lot of these fans inside tonight will be returning in 5 days.
The ball is with Al Ahli Saudi, with Vissel Kobe looking like they're the team that's trying to hold on to the lead. Very good game management, very good coaching from Matthias Jaisler. The big players have performed.
Yeah, in the end, they've produced moments with Galeno in particular, that sensational goal that obviously changed the whole temperature of the game. We're up to the 6 minutes, but I wouldn't be surprised if the ref lets it go. They don't want to. They're all saying, that's it, we're done, but...
The referee has glanced at his watch. Into the final. The champions from last year, Al Ahli Saudi. They were tested hugely by Vissel Kobe, and they have passed that test. Youngsters, Jeddah born, celebrating with legends of the game. It is a win for the Saudi team in their city, in their competition. They go on.
And another very tough one. Extra time in the round of 16, coming from behind with 10 men in the quarter-finals, coming from behind in the semi-finals, but they've done it, and they'll be back on Saturday to try and make it back-to-back AFC Champions League Elite titles.
Al Ahli Saudi will meet either Majda Zelvia or Shabab Al Ahli. It's been a great effort from Vissel Kobe. Dramatic football played with heart and with commitment, but their wait for this trophy, the biggest one in Asia, goes on. Celebrations, huge celebrations for Al Ahli Saudi, and commiserations to Vissel Kobe. For at the King Abdullah Sports City Stadium, it has finished, and it finishes Vissel Kobe 1, Al Ahli Saudi 2. The champions go on.